There's a lot of buzz about the documentary Lilith Fair, Sarah McLachlan's Building a Mystery Tour. Now, if you're a women business owner, solopreneur, women leader, you're going to really want to stick around for this because I'm going to compare Lilith Fair and the proof of concept and the process that happened to make it possible. Think about it. If you can apply this concept, this proven concept, to launching a new product, reaching out to a new demographic of customers, innovating your business, then you're going to get a lot of value from this video today. I'm Jenda Tracy. I am the founder of Elevate Results Coaching. I'm an Elevate Results coach and strategist. My corporation is Lift Strategies. And today I'm going to share with you my experience, not only in the music business through the lens of a small business owner. I've had my own business for 25 years now, working with small business owners in terms of marketing strategy and mindset coaching. We're going to unpack how Lilith Fair used this proof of concept to get the idea of women performing together in the 1990s when it wasn't happening, at a time when change was needed and feminism was brewing in a big way in the music industry, or starting to. So let's get started. So why Sarah McLachlan, and why am I talking about this related to business? Well, I worked at Network Records, the label that Sarah McLachlan was signed to from 1993 to 1997. And I was able to witness the journey from the Fumbling Towards Ecstasy album, which came out in October of 1993, all the way to the Building a Mystery album that came out in 1997. So for me, it's close to my heart. But not only that, is that I had the privilege of sitting next to Terry McBride, her manager's office, for part of my career. And I learned a lot about marketing and business just being next to his office. Often his door was open. So there was a lot of learning happening there. And so I was part of the experience of the seed of the Lilith Fair concept that Sarah McLachlan came up with. She wanted to do a tour with another female artist. And she was attending a Paula Cole show and asked Paula after the show, "Hey, would you like to be the opener for my concert?" And that was the beginning, because it was rare back in 1995 that you would ever see, especially in mainstream, two women artists performing on the same bill. Now, part of the reason for that was the industry was male dominated and men were making the decisions, and they didn't believe that that would be successful. They couldn't wrap their brain around it. Sarah pushed for it, which meant her manager pushed for it, which meant that her agent, Marty Diamond, pushed for it, and it happened, and it was a huge success. And at many venues, the seats sold out. So that was like the seed of the concept of Lilith Fair before it was really fully conceived. The next year, the idea was, okay, let's take this to the next level. Let's do a summer festival that's short, 4 shows in major cities with multiple female artists. They had Amy Mann, Lisa Loeb, Paula Cole, Patti Smith, and of course, Sarah McLachlan. And during those 4 festival shows, it was again a knockout hit. So there you've gone from like a little seed concept to a beta test, right? Something a little bigger, and seeing, wow, like we are moving towards something successful. And then Sarah's like, okay, now I want to do a real festival, like a massive tour through the US. And I want to bring other female artists on board and some up and coming artists and have multiple stages like many of the festivals had. And there was a lot of pushback. Her manager wasn't, Terry McBride, who's very progressive, was a little uncertain about it. The agent, Marty Diamond, was uncertain. Dan Fraser, her tour manager, was like, yeah, let's make this happen, because he had been on the road. He had experience experienced the energy of it. He knew the possibility. So let's just pause there for a sec. Let's zoom out for a moment here. At that time in the music industry, and I know this from being a DJ at a college radio station and then working within the record store industry and now Network Records, that there were a lot of up and coming female artists. There were also like classics like Joni Mitchell and Marianne Faithfull and lots of folk. There were rock and rollers, Chrissy Hynde and the Pretenders. Like there was a lot of music out there that wasn't really getting a lot of airplay. And again, it was because the radio stations programming for the music was decided by men. So if they played one woman's artist on there, they couldn't add another. It was complicated. And there was a lot of push that had to happen from managers that were managing female artists. And so if you feel like sometimes there's like an uphill battle in some ways as a women business owner in this day and age, then know that progress has been made. It's getting easier. There's so many women solopreneurs now and business owners. We are taking over the world. Let's move forward to the next stage of the testing, the big test, the serious test, the test where there is like heavy lifting financially and resource-wise and everything. So Terry McBride, Sarah McLachlan's manager, came to her and said, okay, well, if we're going to do this summer festival, like a Lollapalooza for women, but not the same vibe, then we need to have a name for it. So you got to come up with a name. And this, you can hear about all the history of that in the Lilith Fair documentary. I won't spoil that. But the name came up as Lilith Fair. And then the artwork could be done. The branding could be done. The vibe could be set. So that part is important at the final stage. Now, the first show with Lilith Fair was in Seattle, just outside of Seattle at a place called the Gorge on a big hill. You'll see that in the movie as well. And at that time, there were 15,000 seats, 15,000 seats to be filled. Now, Sarah McLachlan was maybe filling 2,000 to 3,000 seats. So Marty Diamond said, okay, how can we do the 1+1 to get to the 3, the trifecta? He said, okay, if Sarah McLachlan is one of the main people on the bill, who's going to be the second that will have the impact? And they decided Tracy Chapman, just because, I mean, well, number one, she's amazing and was amazing back in this 1997, even before that, like just rocketing up the charts, an amazing performer and impactful songs. She could fill an audience or a stadium or places like that with up to 15,000 people. So imagine having 3 sets of different fans: Tracy Chapman's fans, Sarah McLachlan's fans, and Sheryl Crow's fans. And there were other artists that were brought on too. You can watch the movie to find out more about that. So it was this trifecta effect. So even though everyone was nervous because they didn't know, and the record company and the agency had put the money on the line to make it happen, because nobody would back it up or give guarantees. That was like the cold bucket moment. Is this going to happen or not? And on that first night at the Gorge, they sold out 15,000 seats. And that was the proof of concept. And then it was like, okay, let's go. Let's go. This is serious business. And you know, it's a big deal to set up a show. They show you in Lilith Fair, like setting up the stage and all the tech stuff that's involved in that. And the challenge was they had, like in terms of performers and people, because of the bands, they had 67 people that had to be managed in the entertainment aspect of it. They had 7 semi trucks of stuff and 6 tour buses. And that was all managed by Dan Fraser, but there's all these other people behind the scenes. So now There's even women technicians that are getting involved in the setup, which is amazing, doing the cabling and everything. So they asked some of the crew that were there at that first show, hey, do you want to be on tour with us? Because we've got 66 dates more to go. And grab your bag. You've got half an hour to come back here and come with us. And it was like that. That was the bootstrapping part of it. The proof of concept had been established, and it was like, okay, let's go. So let's unpack this a bit in your own business. Let's really look at how this applies to you. So let's just say you have an idea. You have an idea of something you want to do. It's like me. Here I am recording this video for you. Why am I recording this video? Because I had an idea. Working in the music business and being part of that, and then watching the documentary just got me into this state of, why don't I debrief on it from a business perspective? Because I was there at the time, not with Lilith Fair. I was in the office doing marketing and sales and marketing plans and all that kind of stuff, but I was part of the experience of it. I've had my business for 25 years, and I've learned so much that I've applied to my business from my days working in the music industry. So when you have an idea, you want to test it, and you want to test it in a soft way. It's like when I started my Empower You group coaching program for women solopreneurs and leaders. All I did at that time was I sent out a message on LinkedIn to many women solopreneurs and announced my founding member launch of the membership, which is about busting through imposter syndrome without feeling shame so that you can focus on your mission-driven purpose with confidence and clarity and community. If you want to know more about that and get on the waiting list, you can click the link below. So that's all I did. It was like I just touched on something to see, was there interest? Did women want to be a part of something like that? So something very simple. So if you have something that you want to test in the marketplace, you're innovating or you're moving to a different audience, or you want to grow your audience and you want to try something new, or you're launching a product, whatever that might be, you can start with the mini test, just like Sarah did by asking Paula Cole to go on tour and seeing how audience would respond to a double bill of women performers. Then once that was successful, then Sarah took it to the next level with a festival tour of 4 big shows with 5 artists, her included. So then once you know if it's working or not, then you can ask yourself, what's next? What's the next step? Now, maybe if you know that you have interested people and they're already participating, like in my founding membership, you can ask yourself, what's next? How do I make it a bigger community? How do I attract more people? How do I grow that? And then once you've come up with concepts around that, then you can scale it, which is what they did with Lilith Fair. They took a concept twice over that had worked and scaled it to something big. They were still anxious. They didn't know 100% if it would work. There was a bit of risk, but there was more financial involvement at that point because the proof of concept had already been checked once with Paula Cole and Sarah McLachlan and twice with the tour for 4. And now it's like, okay, let's go. So I want to invite you to think about what idea that is for you and start by just doing that little beta test to see what will happen for you. See if the proof of concept happens. Maybe if it doesn't work out, it's just fine-tuning the message or the offer. So know that you can test things in many ways, right? And doing the research and understanding how to speak to your audience and what resonates with them is the most important first step as you take that little bold movement, progress forward. Now, in the next video, I'm going to share with you the behind the scenes perspective of all the marketing layers that were involved in Lilith Fair to really make it as impactful and successful as it was. Because when we look at our business, when we have the right mindset, we also have to have the right strategy and the right plan around how to create the most impact. And I call it layering. And so in the next video, I will share with you the layers that were used to market Lilith Fair, the impact that had, and the growth and success that happened as a result. I'm Jen DeTracy. I'm the founder of Elevate Results Coaching. And if you would like to get on the wait list for the Empower You group coaching membership for women solopreneurs and leaders, you can check that link below. And I will see you soon.